All right, guys, let's just jump right into it. We'll get started. Whoever else jumps on can, just jump on when we're going in it. So, okay, so the main goal of this webinar is by the end of it, I want you guys to have four brand new ways that you could go and attack and go get more pre-foreclosure and short sale listings and deals. You could use all four of them. Maybe, you like one or two, whatever the case is. But I want you guys to be able to, at least at the very minimum, have one or two things that you guys could use to go ahead and get pre-foreclosure deals, because right now they're here, they've entered the market, and they're only growing. So you're going to see a lot more of them. Quick introduction. My name's Bob Vieira. I'm the founder and the owner of Universal Short Sales. We are a full service short sale processing company. So we purchase short sales for ourselves in-house, and we do all the processing in-house. And we do them on a third-party fee basis for other investors and realtors as well. Born and raised in Old Forge, Pennsylvania. It's a small town outside of Scranton. Not sure if you guys are familiar with the area, but small town. Went to school there, born and raised, went to college there, and I got a corporate job. I was the worst employee on the face of the planet. I think I lasted maybe 6-8 months tops in the corporate world. That's when I got my real estate license, and I jumped into real estate full-time in Philadelphia. Just as any young new agent, I was grinding, hustling, just trying to make ends meet. And randomly, I started getting short sale listings. At the time, I thought it's because I was good at short sales, knew what I was doing. Really, it was just because, nobody wanted them. Now I realize. So long story short, I had no clue what a short sale was, no clue what I was doing, but I ended up getting really, really good at it just through trial, error, and making a shit ton of mistakes. So I ended up listing so many local short sales in the Philly market that people just started sending me their short sale deals and listings. So fast forward to 2019, I realized that there's a need for really good short sale company on a national scale. And that's when Universal Short Sales was born. And I've been running it and growing it and building it out ever since. By the way, guys, as I go through this, because there's only a couple of us that ended up hopping on, feel free to jump in and ask any questions, all right? All right, so really quick, again, Universal Short Sales. We are a full service short sale processing company. We streamline the entire short sale from start to finish. And we team up with real estate agents on their short sale listings. So if you're an agent and you take on a short sale, we do all of the back end for you. So then you just focus on listing, selling the property, and, lead generation and doing the things that actually make you money, not running around and driving yourself crazy, chasing paperwork and dealing with the bank. We also team up with investors who actually want to purchase the property, buy and hold, fix and flip, whatever the case is. We do the entire short sale for them. We get paid on the HUD at the end. And then we have a wholesaler JV/referral system, which I don't think there's any wholesalers on this call, so I'll just skip that one. But long story short, we take dead leads and we help wholesalers monetize the dead leads. So that's what we do in a nutshell. Hey, Sophia, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. Source number one. I am absolutely obsessed with this source to get people that are behind on their mortgage payments. So I always start off with this one. This is an extremely underutilized way to get leads. Okay, mortgage modification leads. Now, as you're reaching out to pre-foreclosure sellers, whether you're calling, emailing, SMS, sending letters, whatever your mode is to go after pre-foreclosure listings and deals, you will 100% come across people that are behind on their mortgage payment, but they want to keep their property. They want to stay in the home. A lot of times it's homeowners that are emotionally attached to the property. Maybe it's an investor who it's his first investment property. He doesn't want to let it go. But many, many of the people are going to want to keep their houses. So they're going to apply for what's called a mortgage modification. Also, mortgage mod is when a homeowner falls behind on their mortgage and they complete an application process with the bank. It's a very stringent process to be able to stay in their house. So the bank is going to look at their income and their expenses, and there's a bunch of different other ratios that the bank is going to look at. But if they approve the mortgage mod for the seller, for the homeowner, they're going to let them keep the property and they're going to give them new mortgage terms. So they're going to have a new payment, et cetera, et cetera. The best way to put it, it's a second chance. The bank is giving the homeowner a second chance to make their payments on time so they could keep their property. Now, it's just human nature. I used to do this too. I'm sure you guys on the call do this, and I guarantee your competitors do this. Whenever they're on the phone with somebody who is behind on their mortgage payments, and the homeowner says, you know what? No thanks, but I'm going to keep my property. I know I'm behind, but I'm working it out with the bank. I'm going to stay in my home. 99.9% of people will mark that as a dead lead and they will hang the phone up. Okay? I'm here today to tell you, stop hanging the phone up. These are absolutely tremendous leads that can convert into business down the line. Okay? Because the fact of the matter is, it's a harsh reality, but a very high percentage of these mortgage modification applications, they get declined. The bank declines them. Because if you're the homeowner and you're not paying the bank, they need to see on that mortgage mod application, they need to see that either your income has improved, okay, so you make more money now, or your expenses have decreased. So you have enough money to pay them on the mortgage. Guys, if they don't see that, they're going to deny the mortgage modification application. And the only other option the homeowner has after that is to sell the property. The biggest mistake real estate agents and investors make is when the homeowner tells them they're applying, they hang up the phone and they move on to the next lead. All right. What you want to do is this is the key now. What you want to do is you stay on the call. Once they tell you that they want to stay in their house, that they're working it out with the bank, stay on the call and you want to continue to build rapport. Okay. You don't want to convince them to try to sell. Do not do that. You're not going to change their mind. You're just going to separate yourself from them and probably just piss them off. Don't try to convince them to sell. All you want to do is the opposite. You want to be very kind, very courteous, and supporting. Mr. Homeowner, look, I completely understand. Best of luck to you. I hope you're able to stay in the property. Okay, stay on the phone, build rapport, and then at the end of the call, what you want to do is get permission from them to follow up. Really, you just want to tell them, hey, look, the mortgage modification application, it takes forever. It could take several months. If you don't mind, I'm going to check in with you throughout the process every once in a while, just to check in, make sure everything's going well. And listen, if you end up needing me, great. If not, no problem. I'm here to help. That's how you want this call to go. Very passive, very chill, and build good rapport. So after you hang up the phone, you're going to systemize your follow-up. This is the next step, and this is actually the most important. Don't just write it down. Don't just put in your head, okay, I got to call up. Because the mortgage mod application, guys, it takes forever. It literally takes forever. It takes months to complete. So you need to put it in your CRM as a follow-up lead, and you want to follow up with them. This is a science. Once every 3 weeks on the dot. Write that down. Follow up with this mortgage modification lead during their application process. Once every 3 weeks. Okay? When you follow up with them, a lot of the times they're not going to answer. They're in a stressed out situation. They're busy. they have other agents and, investors calling them, especially if they're in active pre-foreclosure. So a lot of times you're not going to get them, but it's very important that you want to leave a voicemail and send them a text. All right. So follow up once every 3 weeks on the dot. You're going to leave a voicemail and send a text message. And the messaging you're going to deliver to them is passive. Again, you're not convincing them to sell. You're not giving them a sales pitch to change their mind and back out of the mortgage modification. Don't do that. You're simply just checking in. Hey, Bob. Bob Vieira here. We spoke a couple weeks back. I know you're in the middle of the mortgage modification. Just checking in with you, see how it's coming along, seeing if you need anything on my end. Very passive, very friendly, very chill. What's going to happen over time is, as I said before, unfortunately, a lot of them are going to get declined. They have to sell. What's going to happen over the course of time of you following up with them? You will get the deal 100%, because all of your competition hung up the phone as soon as they said they're staying in the property and they're working it out with the bank. They're going to appreciate the fact that you are following up with them, keeping in touch. And also, your name is going to be a brand. Your name and your business is going to be the number one brand they think about when they need to sell, because you're following up. And that's why you need to send a text message and leave a voicemail, because you need to be in front of them constantly. Most of the time, they're not even going to respond, but you have to do two of those things. Before I move on, does anyone have any questions on what a mortgage mod is, the follow-up process, anything? Okay. Like I said, as I'm going through these, don't be afraid to jump in, because I'm telling you, mortgage modifications are amazing. Go ahead, Evandra.
Hey, Bob. So I've run into a few clients with the mortgage mod when soliciting, and sometimes I don't know if you're going to get to this later in the presentation, but sometimes the response I get is, "I'm already working with an attorney." Uh, what is your advice on overcoming that little barrier there?
That'll happen. That'll happen a decent amount. Now, that'll happen less because a lot of people can't necessarily afford an attorney in this situation. They're not that liquid. But
Right.
really, that's not a barrier, because if you're the agent or if you're the investor, remember, you're not offering to do the mortgage modification for them.
Right.
If they're working with an attorney, the attorney is simply helping them through the mortgage modification. It doesn't change the process that they're in. So stick to the same script and stick to the same follow-up system. Don't let that change anything.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just to give you guys a little snapshot here, I threw this together last night. This is just to give you an idea that, like, these are real. These are a real source lead. So right now, as we speak, I have around 130 active people that me and my team have spoke with, that are behind on their mortgage, and they've entered into a mortgage modification to keep their house. Okay, they're actively in the process right now. Hypothetically, let's say half of them get declined. That means I have 65. And again, these are just rough numbers, but I'm just painting a picture for you. In that case, I would have 65 hot leads that have to sell their property. This is my absolute favorite lead generation system, and it's not quick. It's the long haul. You have to be in it for the long haul. You have to systemize it, put it in your CRM. But guys, I guarantee this works. And now, especially going into the environment that we're entering into, you're going to see a ton of these. Here's a bonus I threw in. As you can tell, I'm obsessed with these leads. Now, okay, this is a little second level. When you're on the phone with someone, they tell you they're doing a mortgage mod. Okay, you follow up. What may happen during the follow-up is, let's say you follow up with Jill for 3 months during her mortgage mod application. And Jill finally gets back to you, and she says, Hey, Ken, thanks for following up. I really appreciate your help during this, during this trying time, but the bank accepted my mortgage modification. What you do is you congratulate them, no problem, but it's not over yet. After a mortgage modification is approved by the bank, they put the homeowner on what's called a trial modification period. That's a 90-day trial period that they have to prove to the bank that they can make their payments now. Okay, so the bank approves the mortgage mod, but then they say, okay, we're going to let you do this, but we're going to give you 90 days to prove to us that you can make your payments. Again, the unfortunate reality, some of these people during that 90-day trial period, they're going to slip up because a lot of their situations actually haven't improved. Okay. So you still want to stay in touch with them during the 90-day trial period after they get approved. Because if they screw up on that trial period and they can't make the payments to the bank will cut them off for good. So that's just a little second level tip. Really quick case study. There was a property, Suffolk County, New York, that we closed on recently. Obviously, I blocked out the number just for the privacy of the homeowners. It was an active modification for 3 months. So I followed up with this couple for 3 months. It was a divorce situation. Why they wanted to keep the house, they were getting divorced, I have no idea. But they were emotionally attached to it. They're emotionally attached. And long story short, followed up for 3 months. The bank declined their right to keep the property. They said, no, you have to sell it. And we ended up taking them through a short sale and helping them with the short sale. So these things absolutely will convert to leads for you. Okay, number 2, this one is a little bit more simplistic, but I wanted to add it because it's not just making calls, sending texts and emails. It's the process of systemizing it and focusing on one specific list, which is key. Okay, so what you want to do is create a list of pre-foreclosures and skip trace them. So some markets have much more pre-foreclosures than others. But let's say, for example, you're in the, Suffolk County, New York market. All right. You're going to compile a list of all the pre-foreclosures, skip trace the pre-foreclosures, and then you want to call, text, and email the same list. What a lot of people do where they go wrong, and I used to do this, I drove myself crazy, is I would call, text, and email, but I would do it to scattered lists, if that makes sense. So I'd have a pre-foreclosure list, I'd have an auction list, and then I'd have, let's say, like a probate list, let's say. And I'd call the pre-foreclosure list, then I'd send SMS blast to the auction list, and then I would email the probate list, let's say. The powerful thing is here is you want to you want to compile the pre-foreclosure list, but you want to hit that list with as many sources of prospecting as you can on the same exact list, because this is going to increase your chances of reaching the homeowner. And I'll tell you right now, pre-foreclosure lists are extremely overlooked right now, and they're very underused, believe it or not. Because as we all know, the past 2-3 years, because of the moratoriums from COVID, banks were legally unable to foreclose on people. So a lot of real estate agents in your market, a lot of investors in your market, they're not hitting these lists yet. They still have it in their head that there's absolutely nobody behind on their mortgage and the banks can't foreclose. Trust me, I know. I'll post stuff in my Facebook group or online sometimes about something about pre-foreclosure material, and usually I'll get 1 or 2 people in the comments to rip into me. What are you talking about? Show me proof. There's no pre-foreclosures. I just smile when I see that, because that proves that a lot of your competition, they're just not aware of what's happening. So there's amazing opportunity right now. All right. And you'll notice I put watch your tone there. What that means is when you're talking to these people, when you get a pre-foreclosure list on the phone, I highly suggest you throw away your, typical sales script, whatever you used on a normal seller. Okay. It's a very delicate situation when it comes to talking to people who are behind on their mortgage. It's a very stressful situation. They're getting bombarded with letters, phone calls, etc., from the bank, from creditors. The last thing on earth somebody who is in pre-foreclosure wants is to talk with a realtor or an investor who is being super aggressive, super pushy, and just clearly trying to monetize off their situation. So you just want to do, let them do most of the talking. They're going to vent to you. Shut up and listen, be polite, and just solve their problem. All right. And again, you want to work, the whole point of this slide is to explain that it has to be a system on the same list. So you have a list of 1,000 pre-foreclosures, call, SMS, and email the same exact list. And that's going to increase your chances of getting responses on the same list. And then just another quick bonus I thought of too, guys. So when you are pulling these lists, something I like to do that works really well for me. Okay, so you want to pull two separate lists. You don't want to pull your auction leads, people that are going to auction. You want to pull them separate from pre-foreclosures, people who just have a notice of default but aren't in auction yet, aren't facing an auction, because you want to market to those two people differently. If somebody is facing a foreclosure auction and the bank has a sale date, you're going to market to them with much more urgency compared to somebody who is in pre-foreclosure but isn't facing an auction yet. Does that make sense? Do you guys have questions on that? Because I just threw that one in there. Okay, cool. I'll leave the floor open at the end. So if you guys are writing stuff down, you could just ask me anything. But yeah, that's an important one. Separate those lists. All right, moving on. I love this one too. I almost love this one as much as the mortgage modifications, but not quite. This one is awesome. Nobody is doing this. This is a very effective way to get deals and listings. So, all right, right before the pandemic hit, a lot of people forget this. Right before the pandemic hit, there was a lot of people. It was a pretty good market. It was a seller's market, but still, there was a lot of people who were behind on their mortgage, and they were even underwater. They took out HELOCs, etc. They were in short sale situations around the country, and they were listed on the MLS. COVID hits beginning of 2020. The banks, as I just mentioned in the previous slide, the banks enacted the moratoriums telling the lenders you are forbid to foreclose on anybody. And what happens? All those people that were facing foreclosure, trying to sell with their realtor on the MLS, pulled their property off the MLS. They're saved. The moratorium saved them. The harsh reality is many of those people, although they were saved in the short term, fast forward 3 years later, right now, 2023, their financial situation's not improved. It's just a fact. It's just not improved. Some of it might even be worse with all the job layoffs. Now, banks are able to foreclose. So those people who were saved temporarily, listing on the MLS, they're back in pre-foreclosure. In fact, they just lost 3 years of equity if they entered into forbearance. So a lot of these people are much worse off now than they even were 3 years ago. The banks are allowed to foreclose now, and they have to sell. All right. This is where you come in and you reach all the way back. It sounds crazy. It sounds insane because these are expired listings from like 3 years ago. You probably think I'm crazy even saying this. I'm telling you, I do it. I have done it. That's how I discovered this. I didn't learn this from anyone. I started doing this about a year into the pandemic, 2 years in, and it works. There's extremely low competition. Nobody's thinking of this. Okay. And there's less leads though. All right. So you're not going to pull these gigantic lists. This is a very targeted list you're going to pull, but they have a high conversion rate because you know for a fact that they had their properties on the market and it was listed as a short sale or just in pre-foreclosure. All right. These are hidden gems. You'll definitely get deals like this. Let me actually, so you guys, I think so does everyone on here. You guys have all have access to the MLS. I don't know, but um so I'll show you right now. Do you guys want me to run you through how I actually do it? I could like show you how I pull this list on a PropStream. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I'd be down.
Okay, cool. All right. Is this what you want to do? So a lot of you guys probably have access to the MLS. I don't know if you use PropStream, but this is what you want to do. For anybody who doesn't know, PropStream gives everyone access to all the MLSs across the country. For those of you guys unfamiliar with it. So this is all I do. Come to the search bar. Let's use Suffolk County. I don't know why I'm randomly using Suffolk as an example, but I'm just going to keep on rolling with it. So Suffolk County, New York. All right. We're going to filter. And again, if you guys just have the MLS and you don't have PropStream, an admin or someone will be able to do this for you. You will be able to pull this. It'll just look differently. So this is all I do. I go to the MLS. I want to go to failed listing. Okay. We're going to type in keywords. We're looking for, well, I look for short sales, obviously, because I'm heavy in that business, but you could type in pre-foreclosures if you want, but we'll do short sale. Okay. Now, what the keyword does is that's going to pull every single listing that has the word short sale in the description. And then boom, right here. You guys see that? 117 properties. 117 is not a lot, but guess what? Those are 117 people that for a fact had their property listed on the MLS at one point as a short sale and it expired now. That's a very targeted list. You skip trace that list, you call them, and I'm not going to guarantee it. I'm not a sales guru guy, but I mean, I could almost guarantee you're going to get business. Does anybody have questions here? Okay. Anybody have questions at all? Not just PropStream, but just like going after the deep failed short sale listings and pre-foreclosures.
Yeah, Bob, I had a question. With the mortgage modifications, you told us that one of the best time frames to follow up in is every 3 weeks. With these types of folks, in your experience, what has been the most successful way or the most successful time frame in your follow-ups?
A lot more aggressive.
A
So
lot
I'm
more
gonna
aggressive.
do so I will hit one list. So that's kind of a two-pronged question. If somebody
Right.
doesn't answer me, I will hit that list again a week later. Okay. I like
Would
to
you,
call once. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, would you hit it the same way? So let's say out of, I don't know, you take 20 Suffolk County pre-foreclosure leads,
Mhm.
you call all 20 of them 1 week. The next week, are you calling them again? Are you breaking it up into a different medium?
Same one,
Same one.
same list. You want to hit the same list over and over again. And
Mhm.
then to answer your question deeper, when you get a lead that's hot, you want to aggressively follow up with them every day, every other day, whatever the situation calls for.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. Anybody else have questions on this? Okay, cool. All right. This one is similar, but not really. This one is pretty cool because it's the recently denied short sale listings. So you're looking, and again, you're going to use PropStream or a similar service, or maybe the MLS as your tool on this one. And when I say recent, I mean like, boom, the expired listing hits and you call them immediately. So the big thing here, all right. So let me just give you this psychology of someone in a failed short sale situation. So I know Ken, you said you're really familiar with short sales, but for those of you who aren't, short sales take forever. Okay. Even in best case scenarios, they take months and months and months to complete. So at the end of the short sale process, after all that work, if it gets declined, the seller and the listing agent are they're just exhausted. They're just mentally beat up. They're discouraged. Okay. They want nothing to do with it anymore. They're beat up. So in their head, they're losing all hope. It's a completely dead lead for them. They're just losing hope. So as soon as the short sale listing expires and you call the homeowner, you could explain to them that the main reason it expired is because of a high appraisal. During a short sale, a bank hires a third-party appraiser to value the property. Whatever that value comes back at, that's what the bank is going to accept. The main reason most short sales fail is because the value that the property is appraised at comes back way too high. It either maybe the listing agent dropped the ball, maybe they weren't working with somebody, a company who knows how to do short sales and knows how to handle the appraiser. So many things could happen, but appraisals will come back way too high. And then the bank wants too much for the property and the listing agent can't get it sold. But the seller doesn't understand that most of the time. Most of the time, in the seller's eyes, the deal just failed. The bank just said no. That's all they know is the bank declined their short sale. This is an amazing strategy because if you're able to articulate to the seller that the reason their short sale likely failed is because the appraisal came back too high and that you could step in and do everything correctly as the listing agent or the investor, it's an amazing way to get a deal. The key here is being able to explain it to the seller. That's the key. Because when you call them up, they're not going to want to talk to you. They're going to be very standoffish. Again, they're exhausted. It's a long, taxing process. So it's going to be a tough conversation. But if you could get through the barrier, quickly explain to them why their short sale failed and how you could help, bingo, you're going to make it happen. Now, the actual strategy that I'm talking about is called waiting out the appraisal. Okay. I don't know if anyone else in the business does this. It's something that me and my company do really successfully. I'm sure other people do it. I really don't know, but it's very effective. So when a bank does an appraisal for a short sale and they have that appraisal on file, let's say it comes back at $400,000. Bank appraises the property, it comes back at $400,000. Well, what people don't realize, that $400,000 appraisal, it expires eventually in the bank system. It doesn't last forever. It expires. So typically it'll expire in 3, maybe 4 months. So our strategy is to take on a short sale that failed, expired, didn't work. Then we get into the system. We find out from the bank when the appraisal was done and what the expiration date is. Then we make a note of the expiration date. And as soon as that expiration date hits, we reopen the short sale and we get it done. It's an amazing strategy. And, obviously there's, it's a little bit more nuance. You have to deal with the bank foreclosing in the meantime, that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to get into all that because I don't want to fill your head with too much information. The bottom line is sellers think that they have, there's nothing they could do. They have no more options, but they can because the appraisal that got their deal declined will expire. You explain that to them. You're the new listing agent and you get the deal. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. That's all for. Here's a bonus one. You have my permission because you attended this webinar. You have my permission to leverage my business to get you business. This is super effective. Next time you're in the living room, you're talking to a homeowner and they're behind and it's going to be a short sale, right? They're upside down. You're like, crap, this is definitely going to be a short sale listing. you could leverage my company and our brand to get the deal. So by that, I mean, you're not just an average listing agent or investor, sitting in front of the homeowner, giving the average sales pitch. Your new pitch to them is, hey, I could help you in your situation. We actually specialize in helping people in your situation. We partner up with a short sale company called Universal Short Sales, and they're dedicated to literally facilitating short sales and helping you through your situation. You will almost always get the business like that because that separates you from your competition. So you have my permission to do that. And actually, if you want, I could send you guys an ebook I wrote. It's an ebook for the homeowner. I wrote it a while back. It actually answers all their short sale questions. So if you have a listing and it's going to be a short sale, you could hand them this ebook, and it answers all their questions, so you don't have to be an expert in short sales. And then number two, you look like a rock star. You look like you have your stuff together, and oh wow, this person does. This person knows what they're talking about. They could help me. So I'm happy to send that to you guys. Email me after the webinar, or like shoot me a PM on Facebook or something, and just say you're on the call. Send me the homeowner ebook, and I'll shoot it to you. It's great to have in your drive. Really quick foreclosure stats through. So just to kind of paint a picture, these types of mortgage delinquent deals, guys, they're coming. I know a lot of people like to deny it. They say they're not. Look at this. I mean, I could tell you, even without any stats, I'll tell you day to day in my business, the amount of motivated sellers that are coming through our pipeline that are behind on their mortgage is just increasing. It just is. There's no way around it. Foreclosure starts are up almost 30% year over year. And that's nothing. The big cities, you have like NYC, Chicago, Los Angeles, they're just stacking up more and more active pre-foreclosures. So it's something to be aware for. I think that, in my personal opinion, I think these next 3 to 5 years, the investors and the real estate agents who understand what's happening and they pivot their business towards it are really going to crush it. You're going to be able to help a lot of people, and you're going to be able to crush it, in my opinion. Here's how to stay in touch with me. Like I said, especially if you want that ebook, there's my direct cell phone. Feel free to screenshot this, write it down. My company website, you could check us out. Email, and then definitely if you guys aren't in my Facebook group, you have to get in the Facebook group. It's an amazing resource for short sale and for pre-foreclosure info. I'm always bringing on guests that do Zooms that talk about different strategies to invest and make money in real estate, and I'm always there to answer your short sale pre-foreclosure questions. So I posted the link in the chat. Definitely get in our group. That's all I got for you. You guys have any questions? Ken, my record is 363 days. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, they take forever. That's funny. Questions, guys? Anything at all? Nothing. Okay. Well, listen, thanks for coming. You guys know how to reach me. Feel free to reach out anytime with any pre-foreclosure short sale questions.
Thank you, Bob.
Always happy to help. Thank you. Thanks for coming. All right, guys, later.
Later.